Here is a great value LED general purpose soft white light bulb. This is non-dimmable on a medium base, and it's shatter resistant. This came with a ceiling fan that I purchased recently. I would certainly not go out of my way to buy something like this. This claims to have a 10,000 hour life. Claims to save $6.15 per year versus incandescent. And in their defense, they're at least describing how they got there, which is probably irrelevant now because the cost of electricity per kilowatt hour has gone up, you know, compared to what it was 2 minutes ago. So I'm sure that factor probably is long out of date. They are doing the typical 3 hours usage per day, which I just don't think is really a good metric, because at least in this part of the country that's not even average, because in the summer, like right now, it's June, okay, and it gets dark at like 8 o'clock. You know, the sun sets I think at 8:30, but you know, it starts getting dark in the house. You want to put the lights on, and so you run the lights 3 or 4 hours right now in the summer. But then in the fall, winter, and the spring, you're running them 6, 8, 9, 10 hours, because it gets dark at 4 o'clock in the winter. So that's a very not accurate estimate there. I don't even think that that's really 9.1 years is what they're saying. So that's correct. 9 watts, so it's really not all that much more efficient than a CFL. And they even admit it here on the back of the box. They claim, this is stupid good, better, best nonsense. They claim that a CFL is 75% energy savings, whereas the LED is only 80% energy savings, so it's a whopping 5% more. Really not anything to note. 9 to 22 years of life? I don't think so, because 22 years of life is like you're running at less than 2 hours a day. If they're basing the 9 years on 3 hours, it's probably 1.3 hours a day for it to last 22 years. That's just not realistic. Shatter resistant, that's probably true, but that's not really a selling point to me. I can't remember the last time I had a light bulb just randomly shatter on me unexpectedly. Whoops. Let's see, what else is on here of note? Outdoor enclosed light fixtures. Usually these don't seem to fare that well in enclosed fixtures because the heat. Made in China. And it looks like this is going to be a TCP product. Which is a brand I've heard of for quite a few years. They've been around for a long time. So let's see what we have here. Oh wow, this is super lightweight. It doesn't weigh anything. This is the great value. Got some cautionary statements on here. Caution. Caution, made in China. Suitable for damp locations. Do not use with dimmers. 800 lumens, which is pretty reasonable. LED lamp, 9 watts. 2700K. I mean, it looks like all the other cheap ones do. It's got the plastic base. This should be metal with some fins in there to dissipate the heat. I mean, the base looks like it's reasonable quality for whatever that's worth. Can't really see in there to see what the diodes look like. Well, let's plug this bulb in and see how it works, or if it works at all. For all I know, it doesn't even work. So we're testing right now at 121.8 volts. We'll go over to watts and let's on this thing. Okay, a pretty instant on, I think. Yeah, I don't see any delay there. So it's instant on, and the watts is 7.7, so it's less than what it claimed it would do. It's going down a little bit. 0.12 amps with a power factor of 0.50. That's interesting. 7.6. Now I find it awfully unpleasant right now, but it's an unshielded bulb, so that's kind of to be expected. Turn the lights off for a minute here, and face the fixture away from me so I can just see the light it's producing. And well, I have to say, it's actually not terrible. I don't really see much of a flicker. It's a little bit of flicker, but not much. Usually, I don't think it'll pick up on camera, but you can see the flicker as you move your hand or any kind of object in front of the light. This looks pretty decent, actually. The color temperature is pretty reasonable. It's definitely right around 2700 K. Looks to be about the brightness of a typical 60 watt bulb. Very interesting. Well, it's not horrible at first glance. Only time will tell if it produces a headache. I have suspicions it probably will, but it doesn't immediately seem all that bad, especially compared to some of the other ones that I've used. Yeah, I just find it like, I mean, even if I'm looking at like one of these CFLs, not that I want to sit here and stare at a light bulb, but it's not, you know, I can look at them and not just feel absolutely blinded. As soon as I look anywhere near the direction of this thing, it's just blinding to me. So I do think it is still probably going to give me a headache, but this is definitely, surprisingly enough, this is definitely one of the better LED bulbs that I've used. You know, I think there's a lot to be said about these store brands. A lot of times, like in this case, this is built by TCP. A lot of times, these store brands will source their materials from halfway decent and reputable companies, and I find that in a lot of cases the store brand stuff is just as good as the name brand unit at a fraction of the price. And with the way everything is just getting out of control in pricing right now, really got to pay attention and save as much money as possible. So interesting, not bad. Still wouldn't choose it, but this is definitely one of the better ones that I've worked with.